beer party. Now these sponsors, by the way, unanimously propagated Coubertin's idea that the best thing that can happen is for this world to become one, with the erasure of cultural separation that hampers global communication. Look at this example. AT&T shows us an Oriental in full costume careening over a pole vault bar, a bush woman leaping over hurdles, and a fully decked out ranch hand sailing over a high jump bar. Now what we are seeing here is a coordinated, sophisticated campaign with millions of dollars spent to convey a message that world peace can be brought about, and the best way to do it is through the Olympic movement. The dream is presented as a universal aspiration of all of humanity. Of course, AT&T's systems are tools that will help build this new world, along with the products and services of the other Olympic sponsors. Now, look at this incredible spot from International Paper. It shows an armed military checkpoint suddenly dissolving away, the flags of opposing rioting people being taken away from them and disappearing into the sky, followed by a barbed wire border fence turning into a goal net being hit by a soccer ball. Now this is maximum impact television, leaving a convincing and lasting impression. But none of these images had anything to do with International Paper products.
A world in which all people are closer together. Every 2 years, for a few glorious weeks, it becomes easier to imagine. International Paper is a proud sponsor of the Olympic Summer Games.
Now the idea communicated here is that Olympic sport can unify this world and is the best hope this world now has for peace. Please keep in mind that these examples are not unique. I did not have to search to find this all-consuming notion of world peace being propagated. Now Kodak, for example, urged viewers to, quote, picture everybody fitting in and not having to deal with the negative. UPS proudly crowed about their holy duty of delivering the Olympic medals, and they told us that their global family was just a little spread out, but they can get your package there tomorrow. And Reebok asked us, quoting here, are you prepared to say, this is my planet? AT&T urged the world to, quote, imagine you can do anything. Then they showed a pole vaulter flying over the bar set as high as a skyscraper. In another spot, they told us to imagine a world without limits. Now, how astonishing. Here are the world's leading multinational corporations, finally getting that coveted audience that numbers in the billions. But are they extolling the virtue of their products and services? Are they trying to win customers with convincing sales pitches? Barely. They're all spending millions to broadcast the message that world peace is possible, but only if this world becomes unified, and they want to help build this new world. Now these commercials all share a common theme, a theme so finely tuned that it seemed to have been orchestrated outside the individual corporate advertising offices.
And finally a clean start.
For weeks, a gigantic media machine churned out Olympic information that emanated across the globe. But for years before that, hundreds of thousands of athletes had made the Olympics the focal point of their entire life. For them, the Games were their single-minded quest for glory that required their total physical, mental, and often spiritual preparation. Athletes frequently mentioned praying that they would run faster, jump higher, or perform better. It was a common sight to see a runner crossing himself in the Roman Catholic tradition, or hear a competitor thanking God for winning. Plenty of kisses were blown toward the fans and toward heaven. Some athletes appeared to be attempting to go into a trance before their performance. Now, meanwhile, the top 100-meter sprinter for the United States openly confessed and was often mentioned by the announcers as saying he felt possessed by a demon when the starting gun sounded. Now, that kind of single-minded, consuming, and dedicated passion for sports was always presented as praiseworthy and a mark of integrity, worthy of the highest respect and admiration by everyone worldwide. Now, records were set. Athletes in some cases displayed model attitudes, gracious in defeat, jubilant yet humble in victory. Meanwhile, in curious but often repeated scenes, athletes were pictured by the media as in serious conflict, hating each other, having what was called bad blood. Now keep in mind, these were in many cases the same people who were admired by millions around the world, who saw the Olympic Games as the greatest possible embodiment of what is praiseworthy in human achievement. Now here, defending Olympic 100-meter dash champion Linford Christie of Great Britain is pictured refusing to leave the track after being disqualified from the championship race because of 2 false starts. Now, Olympic officials huddled at a loss to decide how to remove Christie from the track. Finally, he was persuaded to leave, but in a bizarre episode, later took his own victory run, a tradition reserved for medal winners. Now, the early stages of Olympic passion began early in 1996 with the Olympic flame ignited in Greece, where Zeus was worshipped so many centuries ago. The ceremonial lighting, triggered by sunlight concentrated in a metal reflector, was held with religious solemnity of the highest order. Women dressed as ancient priestesses of Zeus reenacted the religious motions of thousands of years ago. The holy sacrificial fire can be traced back to the priests of Zeus, who placed sacrifices on the altar and prepared to set them on fire. Some 200 meters away, a group of nude Grecian boys waited for the signal. Then a mad dash began. The winning runner seized the flaming torch from the priest's hands, for he had won the honor of igniting the sacrificial fire. Thousands of years later, the holy sacred flame of Zeus was flown across the ocean under constant vigil, not allowed to extinguish, guarded by armed authorities every inch of the way, and carried by some 10,000 grateful and awestruck torchbearers in a 15,000-mile route that twisted through every fortunate city and town as it moved up and down and across the United States from Los Angeles to Atlanta. Now, it was a ritual deliberately designed to maximize anticipation and build a sense of awe of what was to take place in Atlanta. The Olympic torch route had every earmark of a religious pilgrimage, but it was not without its commercial aspects. Each runner was given the option to purchase his plastic torch for $275. The torch itself, thus, became a hallowed symbol of the hopes and dreams of the Olympic ideal. Now, this is no ordinary flame. Listen to this remarkable speech, no doubt repeated virtually word for word at every stop along the torch route. It was given by Mr. Rennie Truitt of the Atlanta Committee for the Olympic Games, and it was given before a large crowd at Finley Park in Columbia, South Carolina. The occasion was the passing of the torch through the city. Now, this speech borrows on language and imagery from Scripture and the Lord's Prayer and implies that everyone should bow in thanks to ancient Greece and the gods of Olympus.
Those of us gathered here today are witnesses to history, to a tradition that reaches back to the vaults of antiquity and links us all here back to the sacred fields of ancient Olympia, where Greece gave birth to the dream of sport that has become the dream of all mankind. For almost 1,200 years in ancient times, the Greeks held the Olympic Games every 4 years and held them in the highest esteem, stopping wars and spreading peace. It is only fitting that today we bow down in honor to Greece and Olympia as we make our way to Atlanta's Olympic Games, acknowledging the greatness of the gift they have given us throughout the world, and standing in awe before the majesty of a flame, which represents a movement that celebrates its 100th anniversary this year, and in that century comes once again, for the 4th time, to the United States, and today to Columbia on the way to Atlanta. Today, it is our honor, all of us here, it is our sacred trust, to stand in the chain of humanity and reach out and embrace the spirit of the 1996 Sydney Olympic Games. To hold that spirit of this flame high and pass it along as so many have before us, from generation to generation, from country to country, from city to city, and from one to another in the endless cycle of sport. Behold the flame. It is the fire of passion that burns within our souls. This is the heat that moves our greatest athletes to break the barriers of human performance. It is the spirit that inspires us to raise heroes on our shoulders and shed tears at their triumphs. It is the kindling of our greatest strength, our volunteer spirit. Behold the flame, it is the light of hope. For this is the pure symbol of the Olympic ideal. The radiance of friendships formed on the field of play. A beacon of justice and equality. The enlightenment of one citizen giving selflessly to another and of course, the dream.